Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate, please, you are kindly requested to put your mobiles on silent positions. Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. His Excellency Dr. Jamal Sanad Swedi, Director General of the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research, welcomes this distinguished gathering and is proud to see you attending this lecture entitled The Role of Media and the Security Apparatus in the Arab World. And this lecture is part of a series of lectures organized by the center, hosting experts and specialists to discuss strategic issues, giving the opportunity to the participants to meet those experts and to exchange ideas and views on these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, media plays an important role in conveying facts and information to the public. At the same time, it serves positively or negatively by affecting the security through affecting and shaping the public opinion. Therefore, the awareness of those who are in charge of media is very important, because it might lead to any misuse of media which might adversely affect the security of the nations, especially in the circumstances nowadays in which all conflicting parties try to use the media in order to gain the support of the public opinion and might realize some objectives. And in order to discuss this matter, we have the pleasure to meet and to host Dr. Muwaffaq Ajlouni to discuss the role of media and the security apparatus. Dr. Ajlouni is a professor of political sciences at the Petra University in Jordan, and he has worked as a diplomat in the Foreign Ministry of Jordan, as he worked of different positions, Special Department for Latin and Central America, and he had previously served at the Jordanian embassies in Australia, France, Chile, Italy, and Uzbekistan, and he was awarded the Order of Independence, first degree. He speaks English, French, Spanish, Italian, and Arabic, and he speaks also Russian and German. And for further details about his biography, you can see it in the folder. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to call upon Dr. Ajlouni to give us a lecture entitled The Role of Media and the Security System in the Arab World. In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate, and prayers and blessings upon our Prophet Muhammad and his family and companions. Your Highness, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Abu Dhabi Crown Prince, Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the UAE, Chairman of the ECSSR, Your Excellency Dr. Jamal Swedi, Director General of the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. First of all, I have to express my gratitude and appreciation to His Excellency Dr. Jamal Swedi, Director General of the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research, and all his staff for the generous invitation to give this lecture and attend this event, and for the great hospitality, which is not something strange to the United Arab Emirates and its generous nation. And I have to say my word here regarding the celebration of the anniversary of the 20th anniversary of the establishment of this center, and I have to appreciate the great role played by ECSSR in contributing to greatly to the preparation of research and studies reports related to political, economic and social development and cultural development in the Arab world, and to provide its expertise to the national and public sector establishments, whether in the UAE or in the Arab countries or the friendly nations, and for the distinguished and the leading role of the ECSSR in conducting research and studies on the different subjects related to the pan-Arab national security and the economic development in the UAE and the Arab Gulf region, dealing with vital issues on the international arena and the regional issues, and to provide all the possible potentials to serve the UAE society and the GCC states by holding different cultural activities such as seminars and conferences and workshops, specialized workshops and seminars and general public lectures related to the specialization of this center, providing support to the decision makers by preparing the best studies and best practices regarding the best alternatives, and to prepare and submit the reports and research to the decision makers. Allow me to quote His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan regarding the leading role of the ECSSR's role. I quote, the ECSSR has proved through its great and tangible achievements that it had exceeded all challenges and obstacles and became an important and established hub, not only at the UAE level but also at the regional and international and the pan-Arab levels, and it has now established itself as a research center at the international level. I have to say also, and to highlight the great achievements of His Excellency Dr. Jamal Sanad al-Suwaidi for his great achievements. I had the honor to attended the publication of his book in the Arab Thought Forum entitled The Horizons of the American Age, the New Order in the Arab World, which was published in Jordan, and in addition to his book, The Means of Social Networks and their Role in the Future Transformations from the Tribe to the Facebook. And this is his recent book, in fact, which reminded me of a book by Dr. Abdussalam al-Majali, From the Tent to the Scepter. And ladies and gentlemen, the United Arab Emirates, under the wise leadership, generous leadership, and humanitarian presidency of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and that the UAE media, which is characterized by its comprehensiveness at the local and the regional level, is characterized by reliability and validity, and as such the United Arab Emirates became networking throughout the world. The media sector has witnessed a growth, a significant growth through the large number of the media institutions, or through the technological development, or the staff, well-trained staff working in the field of journalism journalism and media with high professionalism, whether in the official or the private sector, or even the security media, which is the subject of our own theme tonight. And it has started to support the responsible Arab media in the Gulf and the Arab world, and also a main contributor to the responsible media, global media, and thus the United Arab Emirates became an attractive hub for the media establishments in the region and the world due to the wisdom of its own leadership and the state of security and stability and a high ceiling of freedom of opinion and speech in this country. However, this freedom is also responsible for its own ethical responsibilities and the ethics of the media, and this is the UAE media policy established by the late Sheikh Zayed, the founder of this nation, and which was a policy that was followed by His Highness the President of the UAE, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and his Crown Prince, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. May God protect them. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, the progress of nations depends or is measured by the level of security and stability felt by the citizens. And in the Arab countries, we have good examples of stability and progress due to the wisdom of their own leaders and the awareness of their nations and the responsibility of their media and the awareness of their own security forces. And we pray to Allah to have security and progress and prosperity in the Arab countries, and we hope that we'll see media playing a leading role in the security apparatus in the Middle East and the Arab region, and this system should have a role at the international level. All of us know very well that the wheel of progress and development and cannot move without security and stability, and in which the media plays an important and essential role, and therefore security has been a social phenomenon and a feeling felt by individuals and societies, and needs to be satisfied like any other material and spiritual need to stand against the challenges of life. And with the progress of nations, new terms appeared related to the concept of security, as it has been mentioned in Dr. Al-Rubay'i and Dr. Al-Musawi, that there is what is called the nationwide security and food security and water security, and by the end of the 80s a new term appeared, that is the media security, and due to its own being a recent science, it is still in the beginnings of its own work, and therefore media and security are moving on the same path and trying to achieve the same objective, that is the interest of the nation, although they have different perspectives. And the media insist on having the ability to access facts, while the security forces insist on keeping and protecting the security of the nation and the individuals. And this requires a balanced relationship between the security forces and journalism and the media. And some studies indicate that the media discourse has contributed to the improvement of the relations between the public and the security forces, as it happened, for example, in Jordan, as there were 400 marches and protests, and there was what was called soft security or soft empowerment. And therefore what we mean by this soft empowerment or security doesn't mean by the policy of Christ or the philosophy of Jesus Christ to give the other cheek policy, but also here is to not to use the excessive force and violence against the protesters. And that was applied in Jordan, as the security forces and the protesters were friends, exchanging juice and cold water. And this is one of the most important issues that were dealt with honestly and in a cooperative spirit, especially the assassination of the Hamas leader al-Mabhouh in the UAE in Dubai, and the cooperation between the UAE forces and our forces in order not to leak any information until the Mossad security agents were uncovered in the assassination of the late Mabhouh. At the same time, we still have some shortages in the role of security media in enhancing security, as it happens in some Arab countries, unfortunately, and there are many examples that we cannot mention here due to shortage of time. So the role of media in raising awareness and highlighting the shortages and shortcomings will help societies avoid any security consequences, and therefore paying attention to security is not the role of the public media, but to activate the role of the citizen at the local level or at the regional level or the national or nationwide in shaping the security culture of the individuals and integrating people or citizens in the process of preserving the stability and progress of their own nations. And the relation between media and security should be integrating and should integrate and complementary, so that there must be a kind of coordination, cooperation with all the NGOs and civil society and other means of media in order to disseminate security culture and principles among the citizens of a nation in order to prevent the risks surrounding the Arab countries, starting from the words of Allah: you have to cooperate for goodness and charity and not on sins and aggression, and be pious, and because Allah is very severe in his punishment. And in realizing the dimensions of the IT revolutions and the necessity of cooperation among these nations in order to establish the security. And if we review the media arena in the Arab world, we'll find that there is some sort of national media or local media or regional media, and we have also international channels of media that would be integrated with others. It's very difficult to say that there is a pure Arab or Gulf media that could be integrated with the security dimensions. And it is to be noted that the Arab media is only a reaction or taking a reaction towards the security storms that overwhelm the Arab world, and this runs counter to the comprehensive meaning of media in the Arab world. I'm not here to dissect the national security meaning, and I think you are more capable than me in analyzing the security situation in the Arab world. But it is to be noted also to say that there must be strategies and policies of media at the local or the pan-Arab or regional or the Gulf region or the pan-Arab, as we said, level. But this remains within the field of wishful thinking in the absence of Arab or bilateral or inter-Arab or multilateral or comprehensive policies, because the Arab world faces very fierce media and sometimes is being faced by very aggressive media campaigns, and sometimes well-programmed and oriented media in which different forces, known or unknown, contribute, and with political intelligence and military experts, psychologists, and even some decision makers, rich and wealthy capitalists who contribute to these policies. It is to be noted that these policies do not come from the ethical or the moral attitude of the media establishments and the press people and the social networks, but there is a legal obligation set by the laws and regulations in these countries, and therefore there are certain disciplines and regulations for this responsibility, and therefore we have to encourage the media systems that pay attention to the theme of security by preparing and providing training related to the media security, and to have professional people who pay attention to the process of developing the staff in the field of security and the use of contemporary technology, taking part in conferences and seminars related to the security process, and to shape the news in a certain way related to the security, and how to follow the news of the protest and the marches and what happened in the wake of the Arab Spring and the crises that overwhelm some of our own Arab countries. At the same time, we have to establish the process of cooperation between citizens and the security forces, and the involvement of these forces in the media messages, and increase the channels of communication between citizens and the security people, raising levels of communication skills of those security people, and how to find and to give priorities to the process of awareness. And due to the sensitivity of security issues and diversification of these issues leading to some reactions, I think that dealing with these things through the media should be done according to the principles and professional and ethical and objective criteria, using the security and media message in a purposeful way that will make it more objective in conveying the message, and to acquaint citizens with the facts, and not to deceive them or to terrorize them or to intimidate them or to confuse them or confound them. In addition, they have to establish a kind of trust between the media security and the citizens by putting the citizen in the picture in words and images and pictures, and to put them completely into this picture, taking into account some of the precautions and sensitivities that might result from this show, so that the security forces will be able to deal with the security issues with the professionalism and wisdom and reasoning, and abiding themselves by laws, with the focus also on the pride and the position of the state in dealing with the security efforts. Due to the complexity of the security challenges, the media should be responsible in conveying the facts, and to do their role in conveying the news and information, and to observe things and to foreshadow things, and to go deeper into its reading of the transformations. And it's not necessary, it's not only sufficient to write about a crime, for example, in newspapers, or to meet with some officers, but here the press should concentrate on the justifications and the reasons and the environment in which that crime took place. Otherwise, the media shall play another negative role that would contradict the integration between security and media. If we take this relationship in the GCC states in general and in the United Arab Emirates in particular, we'll find that the security here means the security of the state, the security of citizens and the nation, and this expands to a wider horizon, including the security behavior and also the culture for the citizens, experts and residents and visitors, and other educational operational aspects related to the work of the security forces in cooperation with other active organizations, including all other sources, NGOs, religious authorities, and civil society, academia, schools, and other means of communication. And therefore, the preservation of security is a societal and collective responsibility in which all parties concerned shall be taking an important role, including the decision makers, NGOs, civil society, and other legislative, executive, and judicial systems. And therefore, the security system or apparatus should be a kind of an education that comes from a kind of satisfaction, not only orders coming from above based on fear and intimidation within the framework of human rights and duties of citizens. The subject is so wide and deep, but I do not want to take much of your time in order to give you more time for discussions, and I'll sum it up and make it very short, in fact, by saying and through the feeling of the security status and the role played by this center here, coming and stemming out of the wise policy of the United Arab Emirates and from the responsibility of the ECSSR regarding the role of the media system. This center has been pioneering these activities and seminars aiming at having a positive media, or a media playing a positive role in preserving the security in the region in order to serve the public interest in the national and the Arab world. Ladies and gentlemen, in the light of what has been mentioned and the explanation, I hope I'd like to put some recommendations, modest recommendations. It is necessary that the security or media security professionals should be qualified at the local, regional, international levels, because unfortunately those who are responsible for security media have very modest culture, and therefore you find them unable to deal with the huge challenges that we experience these days. Second, there must be a bureau for the media security to be established by the Ministers of Interior Affairs, especially in the GCC states, to exchange news and programs and to concentrate on preventive and preemptive security to fight and prevent the spread of sectarianism and other narrow-minded ideas and thoughts. And I suggest that Abu Dhabi, the capital of UAE, should be taken as a headquarters for this bureau. It is necessary to uncover and reveal the security affairs rather than depending on other media channels or the social networks or rumors. It is necessary to amend and change the curriculum, school curriculums, and to introduce media security into the books and textbooks and in the schools and universities and specialized departments. And yesterday I was reading a UAE newspaper, a subject that attracted my attention regarding the security situation and the media and the role. This is the newspaper, the Emirates Today, I think in Arabic, the Vice President of International Training regarding the drugs prevention and drugs combating in the UAE, especially the courses of training and raising of awareness among students and young people and the police officers regarding the combat of drugs in the region. I wanted to refer to this example in this respect. that is related, as we said, in the primary schools, intermediate schools and high schools, and this is an advanced approach, and therefore the amendment of curriculums is very important, and the introduction of national education in these schools is very important in order to cover the subject of media security, and a special approach and a special media or special semester should be dedicated in the colleges of media, entitled the security or the media security. That would include all sociologists and psychologists and specialized security officers and media officers. I say this, and I thank you very much for your attention and for listening to me. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Muwaffaq Al-Ajlouni, for this important lecture in which you covered the role of media. And now I open the floor for your discussions. Please, if you'd like to ask a question, stand up, introduce yourself, and be short in your questions, please.
Taysir
Suleiman. Thank you very much indeed, Doctor, for this important lecture and interesting presentation. My question: what is your evaluation of some of the TV channels or media channels in the Arab world that unfortunately became part of the problem and not part of the solution? And these channels, instead of calming down people, they became a source of sedition and problems among people. Another question?
السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم.
أنا الطالبة حصة محمد.
My name is Hassa Mohammed from the American University of Sharjah. I'm a trainee at the ECSSR, and I wanted to ask about the extent of this new concept, which is very important nowadays. What is the effectiveness of the security media in these days? It's to be noted, as you know, that globalization opened the doors of knowledge through the online, and it's very difficult to achieve and realize the idea of security in this age. Do you see and do you find that this sort of security could play an effective role in our own societies? Thank you. I think you are asking about the reliability and the effectiveness of this security or media security. Any other question to His Excellency? Hussam Yusuf. My question is how to Hussam Yusuf. And where are you from? I'm an employee, government employee. How can you connect between professionalism and security affairs under the slogans of the freedom of media? Please, Doctor, you may respond to these questions. Thank you very much indeed for your questions, Mr. Taysir. To evaluate some Arabic channels as they became part of the problem and not part of the solution. I said within this presentation that it is difficult to have a comprehensive Arab or even Arab Gulf integrated media and security media. We should have a system. I am the best for my own citizens, and I do the best for my own citizens when our media springs from the fact of being a responsible media channel, and I highlighted this local level and bilateral and even regional and multiple levels, and I underscore them. I put many lines under these words, asking the question, do you think that some Arab channels or Arabic channels broadcast objectively, and the press, whether written or online or visible on TVs and other things, they should get away from falsification and exaggeration, and they should put into the interest of the Arab identity and the national interest in general. But if our media remains irresponsible, we will be always away from that integrated media which serves the security of the Arab states and the region and the Arab countries as a group. We hope that all these channels should hold themselves responsible for these things and to be very objective, whether in their own statements, and to do harm and to our neighbors and to the Arab identity by itself. I cannot say any more. As for the second question, Ms. Hassa, regarding the effectiveness of this security apparatus and the difficulty of realizing this concept, I think that the problem does not lie in the media, but lies in us as citizens and as individuals. Why the Arab citizen or the Arab intellectual, for example, why do we do not lack intelligence, we do not lack that sense of freedom in expressing ourselves, and there must be a kind of an interaction between the media and the intellectuals and those security forces. If we have that pure and honest intention, we have the qualified people, and we have the valid ground, and we say that our goodness is always there, but sometimes we are overwhelmed by some personal narrow interest, and sometimes we move on certain paths that we know and we do not know. As for the difficulty of realizing this content, I disagree with you, Miss, that if we cooperate and coordinate our work as individuals and as groups and as media organizations at the local, national and Arab level, I think we can realize this concept so that we will have a media security that would benefit our nations and our citizens. As for the third question, Mr. Hassam, regarding the relations between the professional and the security under the slogans or the umbrella of security. The security officer is also a citizen. He or she tries to protect the citizens, and while the media people work to reveal the truth and to prove the truth, and therefore they can protect their own society. So there is a common ground between the two, between the security forces and the honest media people. I mean the responsible media professionals who have that common aim with those security forces and moving in the same path, and they meet to realize one objective, and there is no contradiction between the two missions or the idea of the freedom of media and journalism and the work of the security forces. Especially we have nowadays a very high ceiling of freedom, and the security forces also want to reveal the truth and to protect the security of the citizens. I do remember that during the marches that happened during last year or the other years in Jordan, the forces or the security forces were protecting the protesters themselves and to protect themselves as officers. And so the media here is to have a high ceiling of freedom, and at the same time the media should reveal the truth. Thank you, Doctor. Any other comment? Any other question?
يعطيك العافية دكتور.
Thank you, Doctor. Your name, please. Nasser al-Matar.
عميد متقاعد من
A retired brigadier in the armed forces of Jordan, that the media seeks to raise the level of awareness among citizens. How can we achieve that in Jordan, the country of the migrants and the supporters, and also in the United Arab Emirates, where we have more than 100 nationalities living in this country? How can we preserve our own countries? My colleague and my brother Nasser, I'd like to comment very shortly on the strategy of the Israeli media. If we take the Israeli media, for example, here, where we have in Israel different migrants, they are not even Jews, and they have nothing to do with Israel itself, and there are many Jewish and migrants from Turkey, from Russia, from Europe and others. And now in Israel we have a media machine directed to the Israelis inside Israel, and there is a media machine directed to the Palestinians in inside Israel, and also to the Palestinians in the West Bank, and to those in Gaza Strip, and to those of Egypt and Syria and Jordan, and Israel media to the also to the GCC nations, and also to Europe, and Israel media to the United States of America. So I think that this matter requires long explanation, and this and I think requires expertise and experts in this field, and I think we are not unable to direct our own media, regardless of the presence in Jordan from of migrants from Iraq or Syria or Palestine. I think we have one identity and one and common traditions, and therefore I think that the security message is very clear, and that we have to spread security and stability in the Arab countries, whether in Iraq or Syria or Palestine, and to realize the Palestinian dream of establishing the Palestinian state on the Palestinian territories, 1967, with its capital in Jerusalem or Eastern Jerusalem. As for our own policy in Jordan regarding the media, is not different from that of the UAE, and I think that it is, as I described it, as a responsible and open media. You may even find the freedom given here may not be available in some advanced nations regarding, and in the United Arab Emirates or in Jordan. The security affairs may concern us all, and what we suffer from in Jordan is not only to concern the Jordanians, also what the UAE feels regarding the humanitarian affairs, and we see them very generous as the UAE camps for our brothers and sisters in Syria and on the borders of Jordan, is to extend a humanitarian hand and to assist those migrants and those displaced people to establish or re-establish security in their nations. This is our message also in Jordan, and also the same thing applies to the UAE attitude to re-establish security, and to also to give the sense of security for all nationalities living in the UAE. And as you said, that Jordan is the destination of all migrants and displaced people. It's the same message given to the Iraqis, to the Syrians, and to the Palestinians. Our message is one and common, as we are mainly concerned with the security situation in Jordan, as you are a military retired officers. Also, this is the message to the Jordanians and to our brothers in Syria and Iraq and Libya and all other Arab countries. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Any other question? Please go ahead. In the name of Allah, the Merciful, Compassionate. Good evening to you, Your Excellency, and to the ladies and gentlemen. It is well known that the United Arab Emirates is an advanced nation in the field of prosperity and stability and progress. My question is that the security forces and the security apparatus do their national job and national responsibilities. Do you have some sort of coordination between the security departments and the media circles in order to establish that sense of security? I wished that you had put it in a different way, because the question could be responded to by one of the specialists in the United Arab Emirates. But in fact, I gave you an example en passé. For example, the assassination of the Hamas leader in Dubai, Mohammed al-Mabhouh, and this case proved that Dubai and the United Arab Emirates, though geographically small, but in fact capable and large in its own generosity and strength, and this peaceful city of Dubai managed to uncover something or some secrets that was not revealed by the greatest and the strongest intelligence services in the world in the assassination of Mahmoud. This proves that they have managed, without even leaking any bit of information till the investigation was completed, all inquiries were made till the roots of the crime were uncovered, and this also proves again the complete coordination at high levels and distinguished levels among the UAE media channels and the security forces. And I can assure you the same thing applies to Jordan. We have also cooperation and coordination. We have the public relations department, and also there is a spokesperson in the security or the media security, and a special radio station, and there is a high level of coordination in this field. And sometimes we have some high-ranking meetings attended by His Majesty the King of Jordan between the security forces and the media, and there is a kind of permanent coordination related to media and to security in Jordan. And I think that our colleagues know very well that Jordan is always in the eye of the storm. It is always surrounded by the longest front at the Arab level with Israel, and also, and you know what happens in Syria, and you know what happens in Iraq to the east of Jordan. And in fact, it's a transit country for the smuggling of drugs and weapons, and so those sleepless eyes of the media and the security forces work day and night for the interests and the security of the nations, and to prevent all these storms from passing to the Saudi Arabia or to Iraq or to Syria or to Palestine or Egypt. And therefore there is a high level of coordination between the media and the security departments in our country. And if I come back to the UAE, I think this is a country that sets a model that should be followed by other Arab countries and the region that should establish peace and security. Thank you, Your Excellency. And finally, would like to thank on your behalf His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Muwaffaq Al-Ajlouni for his presentation and ideas regarding the role of media and the security system in the Arab world. I'd like to thank you all for your active participation, and I hope that we can see you very soon. And now I invite you for a buffet dinner. Enjoy your time, and thank you very much indeed.